Alright, so this is round two for my social and digital media presentation. Apparently, my first one was too long and won't upload to YouTube, so that's frustrating. But thanks for watching, guys. Uh, we'll hit some really important points here. I'm going to try and go a little bit faster than last time, and we'll see if we can get this uploaded before I have to go to work. So, 2020, that's only about 2 years from now, and this is kind of what I anticipate in the next 2 years. Remix culture, something that's really important and has really been part of humanity's culture for quite some time. Um, right now, I feel like it's a little bit stunted due to copyright law and the way the courts have interpreted that law. So that's super frustrating, and unfortunately, I expect that it's only going to be that way for the next 2 years and probably longer than that. All right, so remix culture will continue as it is. It is stunted. Hopefully, it gets better, but not likely. The other point that I wanted to hit on, fake news. It's been a huge problem here in the media for the last little bit and has gotten a lot of attention. And unfortunately, I think it's only going to get worse. I know that Facebook and Google have already said, hey, we're doing everything we can to make sure that you guys don't get hit by fake news, that it's not a problem for you guys. But within the next 2 years, by 2020, fake news and fake media, fake pictures, fake video, it's only going to get worse. And part of the problem is that society, people at large, will not catch on fast enough, and they themselves will be perpetrators of spreading misinformation. For example, John hears on Facebook or reads on Facebook that Trump sends a missile at and shoots a missile at North Korea, and he doesn't take his time to find out the truth. Goes and tells his friend Sue about it. Sue trusts John because John is a reasonable guy and wouldn't lie about such things. So Sue then goes tells Mike, her other friend, about the same thing, and we just get stuck in this cycle of misinformation being spread continuously through trusted sources, person to person, people that we trust, all because of one bad source in the first place. And then, because this is going to be so prominent here in the next couple of years, it's going to take a little bit of time for us to all rebound from that and really understand what was true in the past and what's true now. So, the other trend that I think we should watch for is social media being used as an information gathering tool. Right? So, and I think we've already seen this, especially with some of the older social media sites like Facebook and Twitter. Uh, these sites have been taken over and invaded by politics and by capitalism, so much so that we are no longer using these sites as relationship building tools. We don't really interact socially. We do to an extent, but definitely not what it was 5 to 10 years ago. And so I think that here in the next couple of years, we're only going to see that this continues to happen, where all of these social media sites will become tools for us to participate in capitalism, spend money, sell things, and also in regards to politics, which isn't bad. We need those things, but that's not why social media was created in the first place. And so we'll get into this a little bit more, but there will eventually be new social networking sites that allow us to be social. Um, but let's jump over to that, and I think that will come a little bit later. So probably by 2025, about 7 years from now. Um, I'm going to skip over this VR point and hit the social networking sites since that's where we're at. Um, Social networking sites, new ones will start to emerge, and I think that VR, virtual reality, will be a part of that because we'll all need new mediums. media, because we're all trying to escape, the politics and the corporate information and all the capitalism, because we don't want only that. We need that stuff. It's something that's important to our society, but we also want ways to interact socially online, like Facebook used to be, like Twitter used to be, and it just doesn't seem like that's what it is anymore. I think Snapchat, one of the newer sites, I think that is still being used mostly for social interaction, but it also is starting to be taken over by corporations and capitalism. And I think all new sites that come out will eventually go that route, and it will just become a cycle of, you know, new sites coming up so that we can interact socially in different ways, and then those being taken over by corporations and capitalism and politics, and that's where we'll be at. And it will just be this big cycle. Along those same lines, I think that people will start to migrate more towards these niche sites because, one, you'll get more advertisements and capitalism that you're interested in, along with, same thing with politics, but you'll also have that social interaction with, people of your niche. And so I think that while they already exist, people will start migrating towards those a little bit more, and niche social networking sites will become more and more popular. Uh, so VR already starting to become commonplace, but I think it's only going to grow here in the next 7 years. Um, it's going to be pretty cool. I think that we'll get some really good things. I think that Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft will have some cool next level gaming consoles that will incorporate VR, and it'll probably suck at first, but eventually get better. And I'm pretty optimistic about that, and I think that it's going to be something that's actually really cool. Um, and then also within the next 7 years, before 2025, this lack of net neutrality is going to be pretty frustrating for all of us. Unfortunately, in this political climate, I don't think there is any way to avoid the repeal of the net neutrality regulations. Unfortunately, Chairman Pai is going to continue with his plan, no matter how hard we fight against it. And I think that's just the unfortunate reality. Um, but I'm optimistic that there will be some positive side effects to that. I hope that because of this repeal of net neutrality, ISPs will start branching out a little bit more, and internet access will be available to more people, so the digital divide will shrink. Um, in some aspects, right? Because in other aspects, for example, I as a poor, starving college student, may not have the means to pay for all of the websites that I want to access, and so I won't have access to those websites, which will be frustrating, and a lot of people will be in that situation. But I also am hopeful that a lot of people will have more internet access than they had before. And that may take a little bit longer than the 7 years that we're looking at, but I'm hopeful that things could go better. And then beyond that, and I just like to think a little bit about this and hope and, you know, see things a little bit farther in the future. Um, learning to learn, and I put in parentheses here accurately for an important reason. Learning to learn is important. We'll all need to learn how to learn because that's the only way we'll be able to survive. But we also need to make sure we're being accurate about it, right? Because there's going to be a lot of fake information out there, um, especially in the next 2 years and moving forward. Our only chance is to have everyone, and I say our only chance, I mean our only chance to really prosper as a society, as a global society, is to have everyone become truth seekers, not taking things at face value, not faking the information that they receive, looking for either supporting evidence or negating evidence, anything that will allow people to become truth seekers. I think that's going to be essential to successful society. Um, I bring up Kevin Kelly's idea of a believability score here because the other option is people will be lazy. They won't want to look for that supporting evidence to confirm what they're reading. And so they'll ask Facebook and Google to create a believability score, kind of like Kevin Kelly was explaining, where, the article we're reading is 80% believable based off of the sources, or 90% believable based off of the sources they provide. And that's how lazy people will determine believability. Um, and then another thing that I expect will continue for many years to come is our trend of moving towards a more visual audio society and away from text. Now, don't get me wrong, text is always going to be important. We will always need to read and have this text base in our society, but we're already on the path. We are already much more visual people with the videos we see, the GIFs we use, the memes, the podcasts as part of audio. This is all important to us and will only continue to get more and more important as the years go by. And I think that VR will play a big role in that. And then another thing, and I'm kind of hopeful about this one, but I really do believe that this is something that's coming up here in the not too distant future, is human modifications with technology. Now, I don't think that we're all going to become cyborgs here. I don't think that we're going to, be completely meshed with machines and not know whether we're human or machine. What I do expect in the not too distant future is, maybe we'll get an implant in our ear that is a speaker. So, when we answer our phone, it connects directly to that speaker in our ear, a microphone in our mouth, and so we're able to talk on the phone without actually holding it to our mouth, right? Or listen to music, or, record a video, because it's all connected, through these surgical implants or, whatever else we come up with. So, thank you guys for listening. I hope this one was shorter and I can actually get it uploaded to you. Uh, Hopefully you learned something and can, make some good predictions of your own, or, tell me I'm wrong. Thanks.